what time it is. We here, VibeTv, your host, Dark-Skinned Poppy. On the ones and twos, Just Jeff. Here, on the twos and threes and fours, Just Jay. Yo, we got a real special episode for y'all today. We here live at the Alternative Art Gallery, located in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Sit down with Brandon Wunder, talk about his new film, Queen City, coming out April 11th. Yo, look at the TVs. Yo, y'all know what time it is. It's VibeTv. Come this way. Come this way. Stop. I come this way. Yeah. The man is here.
What's up,
baby?
Good to see you, man.
You already know the vibe. Dark-Skinned Poppy's in the building once again. Brandon Wunder. Thank you for letting us come down and sit with you in your studio.
It's always great to have you here.
Hey, man, we really appreciate it as always. So now you have a new film coming out.
That's right.
Very excited about it. So now, before we get into that, let everybody know how you got your start into filmmaking.
It was always a dream of mine since I was a little kid, probably 4 or 5 years old. I don't remember the exact age, but it was around there.
Yeah.
And, of course, being that young, you have no idea what it means to have a career in film. But I was just so enamored by movies that it's like I knew whatever that is, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I kind of just I set my sights on it for my entire life and worked towards it. In high school, I did studio communications and the morning announcements and made little short films and stuff with friends, even outside of what we were making in school.
You've been in it.
Yeah, and did it as a teenager and as, going into my young 20s, kept doing it, got more serious and made the jump and moved to New York City at 22 to pursue my career in film. And
that's huge.
Worked on a lot of cool projects, music videos, commercials, TV shows, a little bit of everything, and just kept networking and doing my thing, and eventually broke away from that because I was working on other people's films, which was good at the time because while self-studying filmmaking, one of the best things I took from it was make your mistakes in other people's films.
Right.
And I highly recommend all filmmakers do that. And don't be afraid to make the mistakes because you learn a lot from them. And, after making a lot of those mistakes, I kind of honed into what kind of movies I wanted to make and took a break as I built the Alternative Gallery. And now I'm back to my work, and I'm unleashing a feature-length documentary about our festival.
Now here's the thing. So now you've done how many Arts Fests? 4 or 5?
That was the 5th one.
This is the fifth
So we're currently planning number 6 right now for September.
Now, so why this one? Why did this Arts Fest feel like the one that you guys finally wanted to make it?
It's a good question. I've been asked it a few times, and I think it's 2 main reasons. Number 1, that's just when I was ready.
Okay. Just
with how huge of a festival it is, it's really difficult to break away and focus on making a film in addition to it. Because the first year, we did it in 3 months from approval to actual festival opening.
Right.
And that was a huge, huge endeavor. We lost a ton of money.
Yeah.
Mostly because of inexperience and horrible weather. And the bad weather followed us around for a couple years, so it was us getting slapped around for a bit. And the second main reason was because we got to a point where we were hoping to have more video and photos of the festival, trying to piece together people's experience of it. And it never really happened, never came together in that way. And it was always hard for us to get photos of last year's festival to show people what it was. And it was like, all right, well, we're going to do our own version of it. So about 2 months before the 2018 festival, I decided not only am I going to get coverage, but I'm going to make a film about my festival. And it came together beautifully. I mean, you guys contributed, and it gave me some really amazing footage, and it shines through. And, I mean, I literally, for what we had to work with, I'm impressed it came out as good as it did.
Right.
I really am. I really am. And it's a great film.
So how many freelance photographers and videographers did you guys have out there doing their thing?
So we had almost 2 dozen beforehand, and then come time of festival, about a dozen.
Okay.
You know how that works.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't show up. My gear's not working. No response.
The expected things.
So I used footage from almost every single person that gave it to us, probably about 10 videographers total. That includes standard definition video because I shot on a mini DV camera because I didn't have an HD camera.
Okay.
My phone is too crazily active at times for me to have shot my film on it, so that's why I couldn't do that. And we had drones out there. We even had 16mm film, which my friend Matt Bloom, who shot that, actually processed and developed himself.
Shout out to you, Matt.
Yeah, Matt, thank you so much. That's amazing. Yeah.
Word, cool. So you got to working, you know what I mean? We were there. We were at the Arts Fest. Once again, Jay, thank you for allowing us to be a part of that.
Of course.
And everyone, it was like a frenzy out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Finding you was like the hardest thing about the whole the whole process.
Yeah, I definitely don't recommend directing a film while running a festival at the same time.
Right.
I say that, but I'm still planning on doing it again. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Take advice for what it's worth.
Hear that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna dig into the filmmaking process. After
Okay.
Take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Sounds good.
VibeTv. And we're back. VibeTv. Brandon Wunder.
Backity back.
Backity back. All right, now, so you shoot the film, you get all the footage together and everything. Talk about the process, the editing process after it all, because you took some time off.
Yeah.
You went away
Yes.
to get your mind right?
Yes.
I can assume. And so when you're back into it, how's that whole setup go?
So editing is when any movie becomes a movie. Up
Right.
until then, you just made a bunch of plans, shot a bunch of stuff, and it's just a pile of things until you make it one specific thing that people can basically digest.
Okay.
So being that it's a documentary, there isn't a whole lot of pre-planning you could do as far as the structure or what it's going to be. You're literally stuck with what you got.
Right.
So, and it's going through those pieces, which there were a lot of. We had close to 20 hours of footage that you have to watch and rewatch and rewatch and rewatch and put next to each other and see how it works and how it flows. Because I'm all about movement and flow, and I want it to be a simple watch. And sometimes a piece will work really well together in a sequence, but then when you watch over a project, it didn't work. So there was a lot of moving things around. I probably had 4 or 5 different endings. So right after the festival, what I did was I grabbed all the footage from everyone, went through it, made sure stuff was good, made my initial notes, combined with whatever notes I took on site at the festival, and then took about a month away from it. Went to New Orleans, came back fresh with fresh eyes,
Right.
wanted to see it as anybody else would see it, and then just spent 3 months or so piecing it together. And about a month ago, before it was finished, I thought I was making just the most god-awful piece of crap
Right.
that anyone could make. And I hear more and more that's a very typical reaction to making a feature film. So I guess I went through the motions with that one. But yeah, as I got over that and kind of made tweaks, it came together, and it flows beautifully. There's a nice movement throughout the whole piece, and I think people were really, it's gonna feel good to watch, and I think you're gonna feel it when you do see it. I really do.
Okay, so now I want to know what kind of expectations did you have while the filming process and the editing process, and then what are your expectations now that it's all done and ready to be put out to the world?
There was a lot of weight on my shoulders because a lot of people were aware that as I've been running the alternative gallery, I haven't been focusing on my own art. So I had a lot of requests and comments and questions over the years about when am I going to do my next project, and how is it going to be, and when's it going to be out. And so I felt like, in a way, some people were waiting, which is kind of crazy. I never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, people are really curious, so I better not just show that I'm a terrible filmmaker. So I wanted to put out something solid. But honestly, it's short of, having shots that were just completely out of focus or not framed properly. Arts Fest is so amazing and interesting in its own right. It's really not that difficult to make a good film about it because it's already so amazing. So I felt confident that no matter what I got, I could pull something together. And I didn't want it to be a 10-minute film, a half-hour film. My guess was it would be 64 minutes long, and I was somehow right on the money.
Right, perfect.
So, yeah, I don't know. It just, being that I watched so many films and I spent a lot of time working on them, I think you kind of get a sense for how they piece together. And, yeah, it came together great. And I think the expectations, I feel very at ease right now. I'm going into the screening very comfortable and happy. I don't feel stressed out or rushed. I'm excited. I want to share it, and only one other person aside from myself has seen the complete cut, and it will remain that way until the screening because I want to have that shared experience, and that's why we're doing it in theaters, for that shared experience.
How did you pull that off? What were the steps to be like, hey, listen, I got this film, I want to put it out there? How'd you work all that out?
It's super difficult. I had to ask.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot of people hold themselves back for things. Things aren't really that tough. I loved what the Emmaus Theater was doing, and for the last couple of years, I've been trying to get there more often. But being that we're so busy, it's been hard for us to get out to things. And this year, we just happened to be able to attend more screenings, and it was very supportive of who was running it and how they were running it. And I came to the owner, Robert, and I told him about my film that I was working on, which was still in the editing process. It hadn't been announced. Nobody knew it aside from those of us who had worked on it. He loved the idea that it was locally produced and somebody would care enough to approach him to do a premiere at their theater. And his theater is most similar to what I want our movie theater, the Franklin, to be when we eventually reopen it, which is right here in the neighborhood, same block as the Alternative Gallery, Cigar Factory. And I want us to collaborate and work together. And I thought it was appropriate to do it in theater because in this age of digital technology, things get lost quickly. I'm never going to put this film online. It's only going to be seen when I bring it out, do an in-person screening. Okay. And I wanted to celebrate with the people that had made it with me, that had been a part of it, and that were just genuinely interested and supportive of what our efforts are. And I think it's going to be a great night. I'm excited.
Man, and we're excited to see it. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you're going to love it. I showed you a little bit, but there's a lot more.
Yeah, we got a little teaser.
Yeah.
You have little trailers on Facebook and everything people can look at. I try to share as much as possible.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I'll tell you what, me and Jordan, we just sit around and we just see like damn. Like damn, this is
we're you know what? I'll be honest. We're all super lucky to be able to have these opportunities.
Yeah.
And after living in New York for 5 years and coming back to Lehigh Valley, I just spent half a decade working in the film industry. Now what? I still want to do that.
Yeah.
I can't just go apply for a film job down here. If you want to do like the news or, corporate pieces and stuff like that, that's not my stuff. It's not for me. I'm not bashing those who do it. It's not for me. And I wanted to be in a field that was a little bit more creative and edgy, So this is a festival that celebrates outsider arts and culture. So it was a perfect time and the perfect project. I really think that.
Definitely.
And I just want to say that the screening that we're having April 11th at the Emmaus Theater, the money that we make off of that screening will actually fund 7 short documentaries. And I am planning to knock all 7 of those out before the next Arts Fest.
And when is the next Arts Fest?
End of September. So between May 1st.
See what month we are in. We're down to March now, right?
Yes.
April, May, June, July.
Yeah, it's almost April.
So we're talking 5-month span. 7.
Yes.
This guy.
I mean, you know what? I'm totally quality over quantity, but also I'm about quantity too.
Okay.
Because now that we're finally in a place where we can produce stuff, I want to keep producing stuff. I don't want to be this long span in between. I want to keep the momentum going. I want to bring in other documentary film students and just people interested in learning. And I want to help this turn into a production facility where I can pay people. I can create jobs. And to do that, we're going to have to do a lot. We're going to have to cover a lot of ground in a short period of time. And some of these films and ideas I've been sitting on for a long time, we're ready to rock. And it's going to be one after the next, after the next, after the next. And it's going to start with all my stuff, but that's how it starts. It's not about me. It's about me creating these opportunities for people like me and those who want to learn. Because let's be honest, the structure just isn't there right now, not just in Lehigh Valley, but most places.
Right.
And it's up to small, innovative people like us to make it happen. And to me, that's what true entrepreneurship is, making something available to those it wasn't previously available to. And I want to make filmmaking abilities and access to offbeat films available to everyone, if you choose so. You don't have to, but the option's there, which is currently isn't there in a large way. So that's a big push for what I'm doing.
I feel that. Whenever I talk about you to people, I'm like, yo, Brandon's that guy who he's about, it's a serious thing. Cause you know what I mean? Like people like you are inspiring to talk to, you know what I mean? Because it's never, like you said, about you. About what can you do to make people around you, the places around you, just better. And the whole thing with making a film for other people, because people, it's hard to get into stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you come down and give them that opportunity, you got to take it. You got to respect it and you have to take it because, shit, life is short.
That's right, man. And I think most of what we do as general human beings, we should focus on beyond ourselves. I want to create something that outlasts me. I want to create something that helps a lot of people. I mean, I run an arts organization that's really just a community center, and it uses art as a tool to make people's lives better. To fund projects for artists. They get to focus on their art. People who aren't interested in art, they can still utilize their space to have a social environment where they're safe. There's no bullshit here. I've never had a single fight. We set the tone. We control our environment, and we make sure people are good and they're having a good time because we want you to come back again and again and again because it's ever changing. And that's what culture is constant. We think it's stationary, but what we're doing is changing. And we want to dictate what direction it goes because someone's going to. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And I don't like a lot of the speakers, the ones who have attention right now. I'm not really pleased with what they're doing and saying. No, so I want to tip their boat and float our boat. So let's do this. We got to make it happen.
I feel the vibes. I feel the energy.
Thank you.
We're taking one more commercial break.
All right.
We're going to be back with more of this guy. VibeTv. It is. It's vibe time. We out here, VibeTv. Still sitting down with Brandon. Okay, so the name of the movie is Queen City. Where did you come up with that?
Queen City is actually one of Allentown's nicknames. They have parts of Allentown that are still named after it. The Queen City Airport, which is the only airport I think in Allentown, because I believe the other one is technically not in Allentown, but I could be wrong. And then so I always loved it. I thought it was a great name. And when the code name of this documentary when I was making it was Queen City Symphony No. 5.
Okay.
Because Queen City Symphony was Arts Fest, was this symphony, all these moving parts that played together in unison to become this festival, and it was the 5th one we did. That's why I called it Queen City Symphony No. 5, but it's just a mouthful, so we just shortened it
real long name.
to Queen City. So, and I thought there was also this really cool live play that David Lynch shot. It's called Industrial Symphony No. 1, so I thought maybe it was going to be too similar. So it's like short and sweet. It's my hometown. It's what I love. It's the Queen City. So that's why it's called that.
You know what? It pops. That name definitely
Yeah,
pops.
great. I'm glad you like it.
Yep, love it.
Cool.
You know what? See, once again, nothing about you. See, you take a lot of hometown pride in Allentown itself.
Yeah.
A lot of people trash talk Allentown.
Yeah.
Like, a lot. It's a common thing. People will
cool.
shit talk and drag through the mud.
I like a good challenge. Yeah.
But you see the pride in it. You see
Yeah.
the, you know what I mean, the gold in Allentown.
Yeah.
How?
I knew what Allentown used to be.
Mm.
I see what it is, what it was recently, and I see the potential in things.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt, not even for a second, what this city's potential really is. It's who chooses to stay. If you're listening to this and you're a creative person in Lehigh Valley, stay in Lehigh Valley. If you're a creative person from Lehigh Valley has moved away, move back. Because New York doesn't need you, Seattle doesn't need you, Philly doesn't need you, Allentown needs you, Lehigh Valley needs you, cities like that, these mid-level cities that are just, they're dying for creative energy, but we're not giving it to people. And then people lose interest. They think there's no seriousness here as far as the arts and film and music. Not true. Because I am really tired of hearing people say, oh, there's no good music being made anymore. Bullshit. I'll tell you what, more and more the music I listen to are bands that pass through my space here. I am blown away by the amount of music that comes out. Amazing music. I can't even keep up with it. I'm glad that we have these platforms now for artists to put their music out there and do the things their way. They don't have to sacrifice and cater to an audience. They can make their music, their films, their novels for the people that like just the stuff they like. And I think that Allentown is one of those cities that has true potential to kind of steal people away from other cities as it happens. People migrate. They move back and forth. And as other places are becoming too expensive to live, Allentown's one of those mid-level cities. And we are working on things beyond just the arts to make sure that Allentown is an affordable place to live. I mean, we're looking at 28% poverty rate now. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is a community space that we're using art as a tool to fix the social issues in people's lives. That's one of them we're going to fix. Because everyone needs to eat, everyone needs to be taken care of, and I don't care who says anything about that. If you feel otherwise and you want to debate me about it, let's do it. I'll have a conversation about it all day because we're not talking about what I need, we're not talking about what you need, we're talking about what the general, welfare of all people need, and that's important. And we got to start there. It's not about you or I; it's about everyone because we're all in this together. And if we make Allentown a city that focuses on that, people will naturally start to navigate here.
Oh, definitely.
And migrate here, and it's only a matter of time. I'm already seeing it happen.
Yeah,
it's the start of it, but it's starting
slowly but surely.
Yes,
they're getting in
yes,
here.
It is. Yeah.
So you know what? Look, if y'all you heard the man. Come to Allentown.
Come to Allentown.
Ignore the naysayers. They hate it. Nah.
There's no violence there. I grew up here my whole life. The violence that does occur, it's not random.
Yeah.
Put it that way. So don't get involved in shady shit, and just be a good person. And you're not going to find yourself in weird situations like that. We just gotta look out for each other. That's the basic rule we should be touting. And each one teach one. If you know something, don't hoard that knowledge. Share it. Pass it on to someone else.
You don't want to make the world a better place like that.
That's right. We're helping people out in that way.
Fucking love it. Love it. All right. If you had to go for the rest of 2019, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I'm already releasing my first film, so that's a huge goal. My other next goal is I'm finishing up a screenplay that I'm working on. So my next goal is to finish my first screenplay, feature-length screenplay.
Yeah.
So that's about a family of con artists that use their cons for good. So It's going to be a juicy little film. Yeah.
All right, well, let everybody know when the film's dropping, where they can go see it, where to get tickets and all that good stuff.
All right, so Queen City is premiering April 11th at the Emmaus Theater, obviously in Emmaus. It is a one-night only screening. At this point, we have no other screenings booked.
Okay.
So come here or we'll see what happens. You can get tickets right now, $10 a piece, both here at the Alternative Gallery, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and at the Emmaus Theater whenever the box office is open. $10 here or night of. There's none of those buy it and it's cheaper in advance.
Yeah.
You wait till the night of, you just risk not getting a ticket because we're trying to fill every single seat.
Don't do that.
So come on out, support some stuff because you're not just supporting my film with this, you're supporting what we can do with projects like this. The more people that come out, the more people we can help, both artists and non-artists alike.
You heard it here. Thirskin Poppy, Just Jeff, Just Jay on the ones and twos, Brandon Wunder. Shout out to Beats by D-Ref for producing our theme song. VibeTv, baby.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.